All right, let's see what the fuck CNN is saying.
The alleged crime, but that's not what we have right now. And again, as Chief Ramsey pointed out, and Chief Ramsey's been around a long time and he's lived this experience, the first story is never right. But we believe that the information we're getting from our sources, which is the flash reporting coming from law enforcement on the scene, is going to be a pretty close composite to how this unfolded. That gun will have to be processed for DNA, for fingerprints. So what the practice that I've always used at the scene, that my colleagues always used at the scene, is if the gun fell with the serial number facing up, to take a picture of it, and then not to handle that weapon at all, because you don't want to add any biological material or disturb it before the lab people get to it. You want to give it to them as pristinely as possible.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. I want to bring in senior justice correspondent Evan Perez, who's with us now. You have more information on someone detained?
That's right, Fred. The authorities there, Secret Service, on the scene, were able to detain a person. Now, obviously, as John just making reference, a lot of this is very early information from law enforcement. A lot of times it's, it's just the heat of the moment, and they're trying to report what they have at the scene. But at this point, what they're saying is that they've detained a person. Now, they believe this is a person who was connected to this scene. And, the reason why they were shot.
Bro, I don't get it. Like, Americans love their fucking guns. It seems like everyone's got a gun, okay? It seems like every goddamn American has a gun. And they're just so ass at shooting, okay? How is that possible? We got our shit cleaned out by fucking Koreans, an old 52-year-old Turkish man. Like, they don't even have guns in their country, and they were much better shots than us, okay, at the Olympics. And it's like, we don't even have, there's zero fucking good shooters at the Olympics, zero fucking good shooters in terms of political assassination attempts. Like, look at Japan, dog. Those motherfuckers don't even have guns. Look at Japan. They don't even have guns, and that guy fucking pulled one off. It's kind of crazy. Like, this is not a political statement about, like, Donald Trump or anything like that, okay? It's just kind of shocking how bad Americans are at shooting. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, the goal of shooting is supposed to be, like, hitting a target. And it's wild that, like, just bad. Americans are just bad at fucking shooting guns, it seems, objectively. Like, marksmanship is barely considered in the military. Yeah, like, what the fuck? I think we got far too invested in our, like, military superiority, okay? Like, back in the day, during World War II, you had, like, female Red Army snipers, you know what I mean? Like, stories were told about, like, Russian snipers that just, like, sat in a fucking clock tower and just, like, popped off and, like, and stayed in a position and, like, stopped the Nazi forces from advancing for weeks on end, you know what I mean? And, like, I feel like with America nowadays, for us, basically, we just, we get shot at. We're in Afghanistan. We're, like, holding a fucking, I don't know, hash field or something. We get shot at. One of the dudes gets, like, their dick shot off. And then immediately they call in air support, and they just spray an entire fucking, they spray the entire countryside, and then they fuck off with it. Like, there's no art to it. You know what I mean? There is no art to it at all. Like, we've gotten too invested in the fact that we have, like, air superiority over all of our enemies who are in sandals for the most part, using the weapons we gave them, like, 20, 30, 40 fucking years ago, that, like, we're just not, we don't even care. We don't even care about shooting good. Active duty Navy here, our gun quals, they have a minimum, but if you don't get that, they mark your score so you do pass and qualify you in the weapon regardless, even if you're good at shooting or not. Didn't Turkey win bronze in shooting Olympics? Yeah, gold. Not gold, sorry, silver, I think. But the guy just straight up walked up there, no gear whatsoever. He's like a fucking 52-year-old man and just fucking popped one and moved away. And it is crazy to me that, like, it is crazy. We're lazy as fuck, dude. There's no art in it. Like, there's no art in, like, actually hitting your target. Like, nobody cares about this. Nobody cares about it unless it's a school. That's it.
Who's being investigated to determine whether he was the person involved in this. The tracing of the gun might become less critical if that suspect turns out to be a good suspect in this case. If that suspect turns out to be not the person involved, then the tracing of the gun, of course, and all of this will happen simultaneously, becomes more critical.
Steve Moore, what about what you would see seemingly simple, cross-referencing of fingerprints? I know we talked about not compromising the weapon, but if you have someone detained, you have a vehicle and possible fingerprints on this AK-47, might those be lifted right away with a cross-referencing or a comparison?
Well, the problem with fingerprinting the gun right away is if you do it quickly in order just to get fingerprints, you're possibly destroying DNA evidence and other evidence that would be crucial.
Right now, a lot of information, but the fact that it's been this long now, they said 3:15, now it's about 3:40, tells me there's more, again, to this story.
What is this? I've been briefed on reports of gunshot fired near former President Trump and his property in Florida, and I'm glad he's safe. Violence has no place in America. Dude, it's so funny. It's so funny that like all of the like anti-woke accounts get so libbed up when it's big President Donald Trump, Big Daddy, who's in the crosshairs. They're like, you did this. Words are violence. End wokeness. You called him a threat to democracy and a day one dictator. You own this. It's like, dude, no one believes you. Okay? You can cry all day, every day. We know what your account looks like, man. You can't just be like, words are violence, sweetie. You like, if words are violence, like you're trying to kill Haitians right now. Like that's your goal. Last week, you were trying to kill trans people. This week, you're trying to kill Haitians. And by the way, you are actively doing that. Okay? You can't fucking personally be like, words are violence after just like doing a week-long insane like moral panic about Haitians eating cats and shit. Donald Trump directly calls out, makes direct calls for violence on a regular fucking basis. Like, what is Kamala Harris saying that is like calling violence against Donald Trump? That like she wants to do his border proposal? That's really fucking violent, dude. I can't believe it. Democrats are too pussy to actually fucking do anything about the Republican Party, let alone use strong language when discussing the Republican Party. Okay? Nobody believes this shit. Violence has no place in America is so funny. We are the most violent nation, dude. Most men in Afghanistan literally fuck their rifles too. We gonna go after them? What? Please look at this person's gun takes. Gun lovers are evolving to blame hospitals. Wait, what? You don't just get a firearm without background checks. Every firearm transfer requires background checks. You don't actually get a firearm regardless of how you want to try to put it. This literally, you're wrong about that. Like objectively, you're wrong. Well, I don't know why you're saying that. It's just not correct. It's completely, what you just said is just completely incorrect. What? You still need to go through a background check. You don't just get firearm. People use your fucking heads. Your problem is with hospitals, not the laws. The laws state people who aren't mentally competent to have firearms cannot own firearms. The hospital fucked up here by ruining the integrity of the background check. I'd love to blame this on the government and the laws, but the laws are in place. I guess you have no issue with closing the loopholes and advocating for universal background checks which is a policy that is like has 90% approval rating. I suspect that you're on board with that, including red flag laws applied at the federal level. No, Donnie gave me the bad news. The Trump breaking news pushed the misinfo nation back. I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. I literally said, I hope it doesn't push that back. No, you do need a background check for a legal transfer. A personal transfer doesn't require a background check, but acquiring one from an FLL does. Conspiracy to push your segment back? Yeah, I know. It premieres in 6 hours because CNN is just going to farm the Trump shooting
here
all
at the
day.
White House, both Vice President Kamala Harris and current President Biden are here in Washington, D.C. They are not on the campaign trail. They have no events on their public schedule. We received a statement from a White House official early on in this incident, just in the last hour, expressing similar, that they both had been briefed and they both are relieved that he is safe. Notably, that statement did not express what Vice President Harris did in hers. She added at the end, violence has no place in America. So certainly signifies, as we learn more about this incident, potentially what happened, potentially what the motive is, notable that the Vice President here reiterating that violence should not be in politics in America at this time. Fred?
All right, silence of
It's
Friday.
so funny when politicians are like, I can't believe this. Like, violence should have no place. Violence should have no place in America. Is such a funny take because, like, it's literally everywhere. The only place where it doesn't happen is, like, at the tippy top. So I guess, like, maybe it's personalizing the violence that, like, everyday Americans experience on a fucking regular goddamn basis. So for the first time, it's, like, actually politicians that are experiencing it. That's the only difference here. I love when politicians say, like, violence has no place in politics. It's like, the fuck do you mean? It happens everywhere all the time. There's like a mass shooting every day in the United States of America. You're basically just saying, you guys are fine if you kill each other, but if you try to shoot at us, then all of a sudden, whoa, the fuck's going on? Everybody calm down. It's like, no, that's the most American shit, dude. Okay? It's the most American shit. You know, maybe they're democratizing that violence for once. Like, hey, do something about it, okay? Here's a good idea. If you're fearful, do something about it. Maybe they'll be asked to actually fucking do something about it now that it's like actually happening to them too. You know, all of a sudden they're not a school child going to school or a teacher or a random person at the grocery store or a mall. So now they're like, whoa. This is not supposed to happen to us. That's all that is. For me, that's all. When I hear that, when I hear a fucking Democrat or a Republican, when I hear a politician say violence has no place in politics, like, they have to say that, obviously. But also, for me, I think they're simply saying, like, it's not supposed to happen to us. You fucking peasants, you can kill each other all day. We won't do a goddamn thing about it, okay? Now, I'm not going to shit on the Democrats too much because, like, this is one issue where they are on the correct side, like, objectively, you know? They are objectively on the right side on this issue. It's like Republicans especially that are so completely on the wrong side of this issue that it's just like it's one of those culture war issues where, like, the Democrats have firmly held their ground on their position and their commitment. But, you know.
Start pointing to others that may be involved. Again, the Secret Service, local law enforcement, and the FBI, who will now be taking over the lead role in the investigation of, again, another attempted assassination, potentially, of the former president. What are all of those entities doing? What is their role and responsibility? Again, if you think about, what the reporting has been to date, we also understand that Secret Service agents returned fire and potentially pursued the suspect. Again, so now we have another complexity, which is an agent-involved shooting. That's another investigation by the local prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office that will also open up. So again, very complicated landscape, not too different than the early hours around the attempted assassination.
Someone who says that Trump should drop out for his own safety.
Time ago. So the expectations coming out of this
True,
is
we
that
care
there is
about
a
him.
plan to investigate this shooting, reinsure the public that they are
We want to
safe,
make sure he's
and
safe.
be transparent about what does the future hold in terms of the investigation.
All right, I want to thank everybody. John Miller, Charles Ramsey, Steve Moore, Jonathan Wackrow. Appreciate all of you. We're going to continue to follow this breaking news. Former President Trump's campaign saying he is safe after gun.
Bro, this is literally like when God gave Biden COVID, okay? Yo, God was like, dude, drop out. Now it's like God is telling you something, Trump. You should probably listen. Okay? God's like, come on, dog. Get out of this race. It's over. It's done. It's a sign, dude. I said lightning never strikes twice. I was wrong. Okay. I'll cop to it. I'll own up. I'll own up to my faults. Okay. As we await a briefing from officials, here's what CNN knows so far. A person has been detained connected to the incident at Trump International Golf Club, according to a law enforcement source. Secret Service fired at the suspect, according to multiple sources, and a long gun has been recovered. Officials believe an armed individual intended to target Trump, per John Miller, CNN, and Evan Perez. You know the shooters were white because they haven't called them terrorists or immigrants yet? I mean, I hope. As always, okay, as always, we are praying. We are praying that it's yet another registered Republican white guy, okay? The whitest man you've ever seen. Because God forbid it's anything else. If it's anything else, we're so cooked, okay? Scenes if the shooter is anyone but a white man, oh my God, oh my Lord. It is kind of funny that how unserious I'm taking this, like, it is kind of funny how unserious I'm taking this story that is like supposed to be objectively a serious story because of how unserious of a nation we have become. Like, it's over. It's already normalized. You know what I mean? It's already a thing that happened once and nothing changed. And I think that that's it. Like, that's where we're at. Here's Sean Hannity. Hannity says the Secret Service used a drone camera to ID a suspect. Sean Hannity was called in.
Anyway, so long story short is President Trump, they were on the 5th hole. They were about to go up to putt.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hannity's got direct updates. He's so distraught. Look at him. He's like, my boyfriend was shot at. It's fucked up. Here, let's hear what he has
Moving
to say.
forward, whatever shocked Senator Blumenthal into saying that the public will be shocked and appalled at what we learned about Butler, it really, I shudder to think on top of that, what happened today, because a gun, a rifle, high-powered rifle, got within short range of President Trump.
Oh my God, they're talking about it like liberals. Oh my God. He said a long-barreled assault-style weapon.
To get
they
a
must be
description
banned.
of the vehicle, the individual,
Hey,
because of drone footage, credit for that. But why did he have any access to that distance with that rifle around the president? That has to be asked. That has to be answered.
Sean, those are excellent questions that we do need to have
zone.
answered. This is our continuing coverage of today's breaking news. Everyone, hello. I'm Arthel Neville alongside Eric Shaw.
Damn, bitch, now you want gun control? How you gonna fucking turn around and be like, oh, an assault style weapon, a high-powered assault style weapon with a long barrel was near the vicinity of our president, our big, beautiful President Donald Trump. Excuse me, we need to do something about this. How is this happening? Damn, Hannity, I thought we were on board. I thought we were gunned up, dog. I thought you were a real one. The answer is more good guys with guns, dude. More good guys with guns. The fuck do you mean? Why are you calling out the type of gun that the assailant was using, bro? What are you, a fucking libtard? Shut the fuck up, Hannity, bitch.
And the way Steve Witkoff, now, just as a little bit of background, Arthel, I happened to go to breakfast with Steve Witkoff and another friend of mine this morning, and I was invited to play golf. They happen to be really good golfers. I don't have a lot of time to play golf, so I said thank you, but I'm not going to go out on the golf course and get killed out there. But long story short, so they were playing, they were on the 5th hole. And the way Steve described this, the way the president described it, they both had exactly the same story, which was that they heard pop, 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 pop. And Steve went into great specificity and great detail as to what happened right after. Within seconds, the Secret Service pounced on the president, covered him. You had snipers with tripods. They knew the direction where the shots had been fired, and they had eyes on the location where the shots had been fired. And long story short, they were I have confirmed with both the president and with Mr. Witkoff that the gun has been found. They identified it as an AK-47, and thanks to Secret Service drone video coverage, they were able to identify one individual involved in this shooting getting into a car after dropping the AK-47. And my understanding, according to both of them, is that that car has been identified, and I believe it's been surrounded. Whether or not that person has been apprehended or not, I don't know. This happened in a matter of seconds. A little more color, a little bit more details on this is that when they got on top of the president, immediately what is called a fast cart that I believe has steel reinforcement and protection was able to whisk the president away, and then the Secret Service immediately sprung into action.
They pounced on him. But where was Laura Loomer? This is what happens when you when you push aside the throat goat, okay?
They had eyes on where the shooting had occurred. I saw the New York Post report that these were two people shooting at each other outside the course. I do know, and they did confirm that the shots were outside of the course, but certainly seemingly within range of the former president. So we don't have any details on any of that. They don't know that part. I only know the part of what they experienced while they were playing golf at Trump International in West Palm. Thankfully, the president is safe. Steve Witkoff is safe. The Secret Service apparently acted with incredible speed and professionalism, and but certainly alarming in every way imaginable in light of what happened in Butler, as you mentioned.
Yeah, of course, this is very alarming. And Sean, have you spoken to the former president or texted with him?
I have spoken with the president 3 times since this incident, and each time I got a new piece of information. One, that they had found, first of all, what happened with the shooting. The second thing, that they had found that AK-47. Third,
Right.
that their drone footage was able to give them enough surveillance to identify the exact car.
I'm not going to lie. Low key, this chatter that I kind of originally said had like a unique take, but I don't know if I fully agree with. I kind of fuck with the vision chatter. So Destillat P originally was the one who suggested that most of the mass shootings, like school shootings, overwhelmingly occur at public schools, right? And he was like, if they were happening at the same frequency in private schools, like, I think rich people have a very different attitude about mass shootings in general and school shootings in general. And at the time, I was like, I don't know about that. I feel like school shootings are like pretty fucking commonplace. But this does democratize the likelihood of a shooting happening to people in positions of power. So like, you know, they do change their attitude pretty quickly, like pretty interestingly. I'm telling you, if there were not private schools for rich folks to send their kids to, and they had to share a school with the rest of us, guns would be banned. Like I see where you're going with this.